And while I recommended it, I also recommended another book called Chess the Easy Way. And one reason I recommend that book is because of this diagram. I have never seen it in another book. The shaded area is the center. The dotted area is a subsidiary center. One should place the knights in the center and bishops in the subsidiary area. In the game between Liren and Gukesh in the World Championship, this position arose in the decisive game, and I saw this game live, and here I expected Liren to play bishop c6. It is also according to this principle that bishops belong in the subsidiary area of the board. But surprisingly, he played this. He still did not jeopardize the draw, but look at the continuation. Gukesh centralizes his king, and Liren plans to put the rook on the second row and achieve an exchange. But this proves to be a decisive error. Look what happens. The rooks are exchanged, and now white cannot avoid the exchange of the bishops, and the pawn ending is completely lost. So look at this. If white had made the same operation with the bishop on c6, white would have options. He could move the bishop to a4, b5, d7, or e8. And this is the main idea with the subsidiary center, that you are working on several diagonals, longer diagonals. Now we look at another position. I will set it up for you. White is to move here, and this position arose between Divya Deshmukh versus Sanan Sjugirov. Divya Deshmukh is a young grandmaster. She was actually grandmaster when she was only 18 years old, and the 88th grandmaster in India. And his opponent is a very strong grandmaster, more than 2600 in rating. He's a Russian grandmaster representing Hungary. So if you look at this position, it is white's move. However, if it would have been black's move, this is a serious threat, followed by g3 and rook h1 mate. So if you are in time pressure on this position, it's easy to see goes here, but white can draw this position with accurate play, and there are several options. But the question here is, how can we use the principles as elaborated by Reuben in his book Chess the Easy Way? You can see here that the bishop on d4 is excellently placed. It's even in the center of the board. And that is okay because white has only one knight. So it's logical that the bishop controls the classical diagonal, while the knight on f1 should strive for centralization on d5. But in this position, white play the catastrophic bishop b2. Double question mark, because now white had to resign because its mate after king h2, rook h3. And I believe that if you know general principles, both in the opening, middle game, and endgame, you will feel that the bishop is well placed and you don't want to leave that diagonal. You want to have the bishop in the center or in the subsidiary center. So white could keep the draw here just by following such principles. And the logical move should have been to play knight e3, because the knight wants to the center, the d5 square. And for example, if black plays bishop f3 here, white can play rook d2. And black must move his king. Maybe this is the most dangerous move, rook d3. And here you can place the bishop on c5 or a7. But if we are equipped with Reuben Fine's principles, we naturally place the bishop on c5 in the subsidiary center. So black can threaten the rook now when the d file is not available. And white covers the second rank by playing rook a2. And here black can challenge the bishop on c5. So now white is forced to leave the subsidiary area of the board, and the center area is not available either. So then you play bishop a7 because you are forced. At least you are controlling a very important diagonal, the classical diagonal. And if white now, for example, plays bishop e5, white can just centralize his king. Or if she plays the more aggressive bishop f4, this comes with a tempo. So white can sacrifice a pawn here and achieve an easy draw. So this was the principal way to play. And here we have the interesting situation, computer variations. Because it's my conviction that you should follow principles in all stages of the game, especially the development principle, the activity principle, the centralization principle. And never lose touch with these so important principles. And you can find them, for example, in this book by Reuben Fine, Chess, the Easy Way. Chess will be much easier to play if you follow such principles. But if you're looking at the computer's variations, the variation I have shown you is not the top of the list. And that is what I mean. We are humans. We must play human chess. We play according to generalizations even when we calculate variations, but words or generalizations must come before the moves. They are helping us to find the moves. And those two positions I have shown you are very instructive in this respect. So never lose touch with the principles you can find in this book by Reuben Fine. I wish you good luck with your play. Thank you for watching. See you next time.